Hola. Me llamo es Glenn, and today let's get some work done on this table. We'll start by boxing it around the gas area so the tanks are secure, and then build up from there. So we're going to start by just cutting out some small sections in order to prevent the gas tanks from sliding left to right. One thing that worries me is that when I'm moving this around the shop, we're going to end up with our tanks kind of flopping around. So we're going to come up with a solution to be able to kind of chain these down just to prevent them from falling out. Now you may be wondering why I've beveled all of the edges on these, and it is because I'm fancy. So now I'm going to finish welding and grinding that front panel that I had cut in the last video. Always wear your glasses. Don't be a dick about it. I don't want this slide to be able to fall all the way out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a channel all the way down this. That'll allow me to feed a bolt through, which will essentially act as a stop. So when you pull it out, it hits a certain point and it can't go past there. And account for the thickness of the Sharpie when we're doing this. Again, some guys will use a soapstone. I prefer this. And now we'll just cut that straight out. And of course, today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Laurel. We're getting chicken on the way for dinner. You probably noticed I had to swap out for a corded unit halfway through there. I just didn't charge my batteries over the week. You'll see me use a lot of Milwaukee tools. They're good quality, not cheap, but you do get what you pay for. And then you don't have to look like one of those Makita guys on the job site or in your shop. And Snap-on's better than Mac. So now I've got the channel cut out, smoothed down with a grinder, and I've got a hole threaded on the far end. It'll prevent this from coming out any further than my desired amount. This will also allow me to tighten this bolt down during long projects, which will just keep this from wobbling around if I'm working on anything delicate. Now the next step is to go ahead and take this front panel that we made, and we want to clamp it exactly where we need it to be. We weld them in place so that nothing gets out of line, because otherwise you affect how these actually slide in and out. I had Home Depot cut these down for me because the service is free and it saves me some work, so hell yeah. I'm going to mark them out, pre-drill through the wood, mark out the metal, and then we'll use something called a riv nut in order to secure this down to the top. We'll start out by pre-drilling with a countersink bit. Well, Canadian grade lumber, ladies and gentlemen. Just garbage. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out these corners here. This is for the bottom so that it can kind of slide around this vertical post. There's a lot of ways you could do this. Router, circular saw, bandsaw. I'm going with jigsaw, just because it's quick and easy, and it doesn't have to be perfect since it is, after all, a workbench. It's not just good, it's good enough. This is a lot of holes. You'll find a trend with projects I do. I tend to overdo stuff. This is going to take a while. If you come to my shop, You gotta get good at using one of these. Always cleaning. So before we can go to paint, we have to remove all the grease off of this metal. I've got an auto body grade wax and grease remover. We'll go ahead and wipe all the metal down until this rag stops coming up black. They use a grease on this metal so that in the yard it doesn't rust. Unfortunately, it does take quite a bit of elbow grease in order to get it off. Okay, so now that we're cleaner than Hillary Clinton's inbox, I'm going to go ahead and spray my high-use surfaces, like the fronts, these tracks, anywhere where it's going to see a lot of use with a primer. The rest of it I'm not going to worry about because it's going to be on the inside. With this, always wear your mask. You should be used to it by now. You have to wear it to get groceries. Well, that went south quickly. That primer was no good. So we're going to go ahead and use auto body primer. This is just high build. This stuff is called DTM. So that's direct to metal. Don't confuse that with DTF. Those are very different things. If you don't know what that means, Google it. I've never painted red before yesterday. So if you want to know how effective these masks actually are for paint, there's your proof. I decided to paint the work surfaces black. Kind of just gives it a nice touch. The cost of a can of paint's not very much. This surface is going to get absolutely destroyed. We're counting on that. Waiting on all my hardware. You'll notice it's all missing there. Got the welder all mounted up on the slide out. This gives easy access in to change out the spool. And then obviously when you're all done with it, it just goes away. And of course our slide out here allow us the ability to put a large sheet of wood across that way. I'll probably even end up adding a piece of foam into here if I do a lot of woodwork. Give the circular saw some support if you end up cutting long cuts. Yeah, all in all, fairly pleased with how it went. Other than the fact that there is red overspray absolutely everywhere.